Hello, Internet. Rob from A Minor Error with another music production plugin review. This is Saturn by FabFilter. This is a new plugin that I just checked out that I am really excited about. You know, I think when you're looking at different plugins, it's easy to go down that rabbit hole and then be like, yeah, I need to spend way too much money on this random plugin. And then once you really start using it, you realize, like, I don't even need this. And then, you can't return it. What are you going to do? You just got, $1,000 worth of plugins that you never use sitting on your system. At least that's what it feels like to me sometimes. Saturn is one of those ones that I definitely think you're going to love and definitely going to use a lot. So the idea behind Saturn, in at least the simplest terms, it does a lot. Is basically it's a multi-band saturation device. So you can set different crossover points. You can actually set a whole bunch. Right now I just have 3 crossover points, and I'm using this primarily on my toms and my room processing on the GGD P4 kit. And what you can do is you can set different types of saturation to specific bands. And what's also cool is that since it's basically a EQ then as well, since I've set these different crossover points, you can also EQ stuff the way you would normally do. So on this particular tom sound, to get that really metal drum tom sound, I've pulled the middle band down to carve out those middle frequencies. This is a trick that I discovered watching a Nolly video, and was pretty happy with how I was getting my tom sounds, but was really unhappy with how I was getting the room sound to sound in that sort of chase to really nail that kind of periphery Nolly drum sound, and decided to try this, and I'm very glad that I did. So I will be showing you guys how I am using it, or rather copying how to use it from Nolly on my drum sound for this little demo. This is a demo from a Legator guitar review that I recently did. And I'm pretty happy with how these drums are sounding. So I think what we'll do is we'll start with the toms, just because I found that to be a fun little trick. So the basic idea here is that the top frequencies, I've got it on the warm tape setting, and I've got the drive just maxed out all the way. It's, driving this warm tape as hard as it can to specifically the frequencies above my crossover point, which is basically 3K and up. The middle frequencies are just sort of more modestly driven, still on the warm tube setting, and then I'm grabbing that band 2, which is between the 2 crossover points of 250 and 3K, and just pulling that back to give it that mid-band scoop. And then on the bass frequencies, using clean tape with very, very light drive, basically leaving the lowest frequencies alone. So what I'll do first is I will play basically all of my drums, just kind of how the drums sound through this little fill so you can hear the section, and then I will turn Saturn on and off across all of these. So obviously that's a huge difference. I know the gain staging isn't correct once you turn them off, but what I'll do is I'll just solo out those toms so you can just hear them on their own, and really just hear exactly what Saturn is doing. I mean, it doesn't get much simpler than that as far as, getting a great sounding tom sound. And I didn't even tweak it at all. I just copied and pasted the exact same settings across all 4 toms. Obviously you might want to tweak those crossover points more for something like this. For like the lower pitch toms, maybe set the crossovers, kind of progressively headed a little bit lower. But all in all, I just felt like it was sounding great. And I'm not really doing any other processing. Just basically the virtual channel, and that's it across them. And then just smash and grab. I'm probably over compressing it, but whatever. So that is Saturn across the toms, which I think just sounds great and simple, just done. The other area where Saturn is really exciting to me is using it on the room. So for the room, another 3-band set, kind of the same sort of crossover points, a little bit lower, so 229 hertz, and then the other band is at a little bit over 2K. 3 different bands set, with really focusing on the mid-range. The idea being here is that the way that Nolly really uses the room mics is to get that emphasis on the snares. So like in the actual plugin itself, I've got, sort of an unrealistic picture of the kit, but for the advantage of getting a better sounding snare drum, or really nailing that periphery Nolly kind of snare drum sound. So like the cymbals are very low in the room mics, and then, basically getting all of my cymbal sound from the overhead, and then obviously the spot mics as well. I actually kind of did it a little different from him in that I did push the toms into the room a little bit more, because I wanted more of that reverb sound from the toms to kind of match the snare. But then it's really all about the snare, presence in the room mics, and then sending that to the basically the drum smash bus that I have set up for the parallel compression. And this is something that I normally wouldn't have done. So in my past recordings, we had real room mics set up. Obviously you can't lower the amount of cymbals that you bleed that you're getting in that in a real setting, but you can in this software. So that's part of getting, really kind of nailing this kind of periphery sound, at least for in my living room here in Philadelphia. So Saturn is really doing a lot here to bring out that snare drum presence, specifically through saturation. So saturation is the thing that mixing in a DAW is lacking. In an actual recording studio, you'd be recording to tape, or you're running through an actual desk, and there's all of those nonlinear artifacts being created that then don't happen when you're mixing in the box. And all of these kind of plugins are really just designed at solving that problem. So there's a whole bunch of different ones. The saturation knob by Softtube I'd recommend. It's free. Doesn't get any better than that. I did a review. I'll do the little link or whatnot. Another great one is by Slate Digital, the virtual tape machines. This is one of those plugins when my band did our first release. I had already spent way too much money on plugins at that point and wasn't sure how important this one would be, and I wish that I had gotten it, because this is huge. It makes an enormous difference. I cannot recommend the Slate tape machine, but honestly any tape machine plugin will work and sound great. Another one is the virtual channel by Slate Digital, which basically makes it sound like you're running through an actual desk. So you get those different, non-linear artifacts that help make a mix pop and sound big. Saturn is that same idea. It's just now you can get real specific about which bands you're processing to help get that sound. So for the high frequencies, I'm on the warm tape with a small amount of drive, and it's all about the mid frequencies, really driving those to get that presence, to get that warmth, and get that tone. Before I got Saturn, I was trying to copy Nolly, trying to basically do this with an EQ. I basically had pulled up a instance of the VG, which one is it? VGN, yeah. Which is a great plugin. This one is really, really powerful. Just a little bit goes a long way. So this was what I was trying to do to basically emulate what Saturn is doing. And what I'll do is I'll just basically play it with Saturn. I'll turn Saturn off, and then I'll pop on my, trying to fake Saturn. And it's just not, it was in the right direction, but it's not it. So here we go. And then with the Slate one. I think it was ballpark what I was trying to do. It was pretty close, but wasn't happy with it. It just really wasn't nailing that sound, and I think this is really, really cool. Saturn is crazy powerful. I mean, there's so many things that you can do here, even beyond what I was doing with it. So in the end, would I recommend Saturn, or is this one of those weird plugins that you're going to buy and then like immediately regret? I would really strongly recommend it. I think Saturn is really potent, really powerful, really versatile. It can do way more than even what I am doing right here to help really nail these drum sounds. Saturation is just so vital and so critical. There's so many creative things that you can do here. I would highly recommend this one. You know, I recently checked out Soothe, which is one that I would kind of put more in that category of, it's really, I don't know, maybe if you got $200 burning a hole in your pocket, sure, I guess. But Saturn is really cool and really versatile, and this can do so much more. What I'll do is I'll just basically play my drum sound complete now with everything in there, and I'll turn Saturn on and off just with those instances. So this is one I'm going to be sinking my teeth into more and really, you know, learning all the other little kind of tricks that you can do with it. Right now I'm just focusing on nailing that drum sound, and I think it's been a critical element in getting it there. It's definitely the best drum sound that I've made so far, whether it was mixing real drums on past A Minor Error records, or if it's kind of moving forward, I'm going to be doing the software element of things. Yeah, I think it's very, very critical and really versatile, and I definitely highly recommend it.